Hi there. I hope you're doing great. I hope you've had quite a productive week, and that things are generally looking good for you. And if they're not, I hope that somehow you find the strength to get through these times while looking forward to more positive days. Exactly 10 days ago, I started this podcast, which I call the Feelings and Philosophy podcast, where I talk about my feelings and try to understand them, basically break down my motive and ambition and understanding of things in a bit to find a perspective that is optimal for a happy life or a more fulfilled life. And the feedback from that has been amazing. Again, this started after I was denied my visa application to the US, and so I just felt like putting out, like in some way expressing how I was feeling, because I think that it's a common feeling which we don't get to talk about as much. Rejection is not like easy to deal with, and it can make you feel a ton of things. It will make you blame yourself and all of those things. So I just felt like doing something about it, and in some way trying to find the positive aspect of what had happened. So I put out an episode, and the feedback was fantastic. It was tremendously amazing. In fact, the most exciting part for me so far, I have put out 2 episodes. The most exciting part for me so far has been the part where people get to listen and actually feel and connect and understand the things I talk about, and also share their own perspectives. And a ton of times I have ended up learning things I didn't know, or even getting a better understanding of things from comments. However, a part of me feels like this needs to be done better for a number of reasons. First of all, I think that it's been difficult trying to manage all the conversations in private. So I'm still figuring out the best way to do this. I'm also wondering if this is something I should put online versus share among my friends, because I think it's the conversations that follow. First of all, the podcast itself, and then the conversations that are born thereof, are conversations that everybody can benefit from. I have had like the most interesting conversations in the past couple of days, like with people who get to share like what they're actually going through. And sometimes it's humbling to realize or understand that you are not alone. And there's people sometimes dealing with worse. And there's just that whole empathy and all of that it builds into you that kind of makes life relatively more interesting, relatively more promising for you, relatively more positive for you. So this is the 3rd episode of the Feelings and Philosophy podcast. If you've been listening, thanks for listening. And if you are new to this, I just want to welcome you. And ultimately, I want you to consider this like a safe place to express your feelings and, collectively try to make sense of them. Nobody, as much as possible, the idea is that nobody should be judging others for their opinions. And let's just all empathize and try to understand that everything people feel, whether you feel it's wrong or right, or whether you feel like it is necessary or not, is valid, because they're feeling it. And you may think it's not real, you may think it's in their head, but they are feeling it. So this is a safe space. So in this episode, I just want to talk about hunger. And it's a funny thing to talk about. Like, is it like hunger in terms of no food, like you've been sucking Gary, or is it like hunger in terms of ambition, like you want to do more and all of that? But for me, it's both in some way, because I think I've realized that I am most ambitious when I am physically hungry. And I guess that makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense, because like when you're hungry, potentially you are not even clear-headed. Potentially you would approach things from a place of hunger. You would not be in the best, like the most comfortable mental state to approach tasks. Like your brain self will be lacking of the appropriate nutrients to do heavy like mental gymnastics. But when you're fed, theoretically, you should be in a state to like take on bigger tasks, because you're doing good, you're okay, like you can calm down and think about things and learn new things and explore new things from a place of comfort. I don't know if this is just me or if like it works that way for you people too, but when I'm fed, I'm the laziest person, I'm like the laziest motherfucker. Like I literally could, like it brings some sense of like comfort that you've overcome hunger, you're doing good. And again, it's not like I become useless, because I mean those that know me I'm somebody that can't even stand not doing stuff. Like my brain won't even let me, even while I sleep, my brain tries to do stuff. So, but I think it's from a place of like there's some energy and some level of determination and rigor which I used to approach things when things were difficult for me. I remember when I was in Uniben and when I dropped out of school, there was a period I started while in school for like 5 days. I think 5 days is like my longest streak. And even during that period, I was coding every day. My closest friend then at the time was just looking at me like when he found out, like he couldn't understand how all that could be happening, but I was still fixated on whatever I wanted to do, right? So there was that determination and there was that hunger, there was that like focus on what I'm trying to achieve. And even after school, dropping out of school and coming to Lagos to try to hustle and like pursue my creative career as a software engineer, design, and even like try to get my own startup off the ground, there was this energy that I just cannot explain. Sometimes I explain it to be God. Sometimes I've felt like it's some sense of determination. Sometimes I felt like it was a number of things, but there was this energy. And I think that in this moment, I feel like it was like a certain hunger that I feel like I have lost touch with. So these days I have a shit ton of stuff I should be doing and I want to do, but where's like the determination to get it all done is not there. And it's not, and again, it's funny because anybody that knows me listening to this will be like, because I do a lot of things. Like I should be sleeping right now, but no, I'm working. And I also try to work during the day. I mean, I sleep during the day. I'm not a zombie, but I work most of the time. But there's this hunger, there's this determination, there's this thing that I feel like I have lost as I'm growing up. And I think I used to have this conversation with my elder brother when we were younger. And we used to talk about how as kids, we felt like we're more intelligent than we currently are. Like there was this even longer attention span. And it's funny because you would think that the kids are the ones who should have shorter attention span. But as a kid, I think I was far more focused than I am now. I used to be able to take up a book and read it till evening, literally. I used to be able to take up anything and do it for like extended periods, and that's all I would do. But then now it's funny because my attention span is quite short. And again, there's a number of reasons why that is. I saw a tweet today where somebody was talking about like how short form content on TikTok and Reels and all of that is affecting our attention span. And we don't know like what that can turn into, because now when somebody sends you something that is long, you're like, I can't watch it. Like it's too long and all that. But some time ago, you were watching movies that were like 3-4 hours. Like you were watching seasonals, you were watching all those things. But now you're looking for like the shortest thing you could just glance out and move on. So again, it feels like as time progresses, you like once you overcome like a major hurdle, or like once you get past a certain phase, or once you achieve a certain goal, you tend to lose the hunger and determination with which you were riding initially. So for me, the question has been, how do I get back this hunger? Because I have a shit ton of things I want to do. And yes, I'm doing quite a number of things already, but I feel like I could do a lot more. And I feel like I used to be capable of doing a lot more. So I'm trying to consciously unlock that part of me that is able to optimize for more. But then this is with a caveat, because I am no longer that person I used to be who used to sacrifice everything in his life to get shit done. I am now somebody that more actively is trying to figure out how to balance things. And again, balance is a very tricky word, but balance for me doesn't mean equal amount of work and equal amount of other things in my life. It just means an optimal state where I'm satisfied with how things are going on in my life. And it may be so imperfect. It may be like 90% work and 10% of whatever else, but it's just like an optimal state where I have acceptance. Like there's some acceptance to my condition or to my situation, like how much I'm doing and how much I'm not doing, and I am wholeheartedly embracing it as the current thing and moving with it, right? So at this point, while I am trying to seek the hunger, I am consciously trying to optimize to regain that level of ambition. I'm also trying to be careful not to jeopardize the sense of peace and calm that I am finding / operating with / trying to, yes, gain more of, right? So it's a tricky, quite a tricky journey. But yeah, there's a number of things I'm doing these days, right? Some I'm not proud of. Some are mostly experimental. And this is where the physical hunger thing comes from. I feel like when I am overfed, I tend to do less. I don't know. In fact, not even necessarily overfed. When I'm just fed, I tend to do less. This is probably the same for everybody. Maybe not. I think some people enjoy their food, but not me. It's a lot of times like if I'm working and you bring food to me, I'll probably say no, let me finish first, because the food kind of blocks my sense. This may not make sense, but it makes sense to those that know that it makes sense. The food blocks my sense, literally. Like, in fact, some foods are worse than others. If I eat bread literally blocks my brain. I can't think once I eat bread. Again, on this podcast, I would say a ton of things that are based on feelings. Again, it's a feelings and philosophy podcast, and I'm not necessarily trying to be right or be scientific with things. I'm trying to just express my feelings and understand them the way they are, right? Now, it may not be true that the bread blocks my sense. I don't know. Maybe there's some scientific explanation to it. But food kind of blocks my sense. And I think I've seen this same like kind of narrative in a number of things, even with very rich people. I remember it's a while back when I was like looking into the lifestyle of, in quotes, the rich, right? People that have probably made it, Bill Gates and all of those people. And I realized that for almost all of them, there was a consistent theme of having a really concise or a really like stripped down lifestyle, even as far as their feeding habits. So you would expect that somebody with so much money would be flexing, like dining away, bouquet here and there and all of that, but not necessarily. Some of them even like are far more frugal in terms of their spending and feeding than we are. And I think a part of that is because like sitting down and just drowning yourself in all the things you've gotten or achieved, like chopping your money away and just like flexing all the way, kind of takes away from your ambition to do more. And yes, you have achieved a major feat, but you're not dead yet, so you probably still have other things that you are poised to take care of. Like, again, most people will tell you that your destiny is not over the small. I don't think I would call it destiny, but I think there's a lot more impact you could create in the world. So you don't necessarily have to just chop away and die from the chopping. So I'm trying to figure out how to like get that back. So one of the ways I'm doing that is to create a system, starting with my feeding habits. I realized that food affects my sense, so I'm trying to be more cautious about how I eat. I'm trying to eat less and less food, but enough. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to kill myself. I'm kind to myself, but not too much, right? And also not sporadically. Like, don't just feel like chewing something and just open the fridge and pick up something. Like, I'm trying to create a system. I'm trying to discipline myself back into a space where I can perform more optimally. So, food, not just eating randomly, and also eating like healthy portions. And yeah, this is kind of difficult because you'll be hungry sometimes, but I think the system is necessary in order to keep yourself in check. Else you can be hungry always if you allow yourself. That's the thing. Also, as regards creating a system, I'm also trying to like work based off a schedule. So have a sense of what I'm going to be achieving from so time. These are the things I want to do for the day. This is what I'll be doing from so time to so time. Then this, then that. And again, a lot of times I'm not a schedule kind of guy, so things will tend to blow out. But just having the schedule and trying to stick with it keeps things in place for me, and in some way helps me optimize for like a more productive outcome. Yeah. So while I am hoping that I never go back to being hungry, yeah, I am searching for hunger, and this is how I'm doing it. If this is something you absolutely can relate to it, or like feel like it's also a recurring theme in your life, then please let me know in the comment section below. If you're listening from WhatsApp, like if I shared the podcast with you privately, let me know in my DMs and let's have a conversation around what you're doing, what I'm doing, and yeah, maybe we could learn something from each other. Again, thank you so much for listening. I am so happy to share this with you, and I hope you have an amazing couple of days left in the week. I think we have just 2 more days. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of the week. Bye. I love you.